Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ardi KANUGROHO. I want to read a story about the Hansel and Gretel short story. Let's go. Once upon a time, there was a family that lived in a small house deep in the forest. The father was a woodcutter who worked hard to provide for his wife and two children, Hansel and Gretel. Sadly, their mother has passed away when they were very young, and they were very sad without her. One day, the woodcutter decided to remarry. However, his new wife was not kind to Hansel and Gretel. She was always mean to them and treated them poorly. The woodcutter, not knowing what else to do, took Hans and Gretel deep into the forest and left them there all alone. Hansel, being a clever boy, had brought some breadcrumbs with him. He dropped them on the ground as they walked so that they could find their way back home. But unfortunately, the bird came and ate all the breadcrumbs. So Hansel and Gretel were lost in the forest. They were very hungry, tired, and scared. As night fell, the forest became very dark. The star and moon were hidden behind the cloud, and all they could hear was the howling of an owl. Gretel became very frightened and started to cry. She went to go home. Hansel hugged his sister and held her hand tightly. He said, "Don't be afraid, my sister. Tomorrow we will find our way home. Our father will come and find us, and we will be able to go back to our house." They were so tired that they soon fell asleep, holding each other close. Even though they were lost and alone in the forest, they knew that they had each other and they will find a way home. The next morning, Hansel and Gretel woke up to find that it was very cold in the forest and they were very hungry. Hansel took his sister's hand and they started looking for the way home again. They walked and walked, but they couldn't find their way home. Suddenly, they came across a stranger house. In the was made of gingerbread, candy, and chocolate. Look, Hans, the house is made chocolate bricks. Gretel examined happily, and they both ate eagerly. While they were eating, an old woman opened the door. She had a very long, pointed nose and wore a pointed hat. She looked at the children and smiled. "You kids seem to be hungry. Come in. I'll prepare a nice meal for you," she said. So they can went it, but they didn't know that the woman was a witch, as soon as Hansel and Gretel entered the house. She locked the door behind them. Then she caught Hansel and locked him in a cage. Gretel started to cry again. The witch wanted to roast and eat Hansel. But they realized the Hansel was not fat enough yet. So she started cooking delicious food for Hansel every day so that he would get fat and she could eat him. Poor Gretel had to cook every day. The witch had poor eyesight. Every evening, she went to Hansel's table, took Hansel's hand and touched his finger to see if it was thick enough to fry. Smart Hansel took a plan. He gave her a stick to touch every day instead of his finger. So the witch blamed herself for why Hansel was gaining wake and prepare a new meal every day. But one day, Hansel could give her the sick, so then with Gretel he fingered, "Oh no, you are fat today. I can grill you and eat really good food," she said. She took Gretel to heat up the oven. She was going to roast and eat Hansel, but when the witch stopped to check the oven temperature, Gretel pushed her from behind and locked the oven door. "You see, you are so smart, Gretel," exclaimed Hans with great job. Gretel rescued Hansel and they filled their pocket with witches with witch devils. Finally, they managed to find their way home. When they got home, their stepmom has died. Their father greeted his children happily. "Thanks, thanks, smart kids," he said. "The family was never poor or hungry again." Sekian dari saya, thank you.